Tonight on NTV's Grow, the numbers are in. Harvest expected to be really big this year. We'll have the latest. Also, moisture, it is welcome, but it's also causing some concern, and you might be facing some difficult decisions as changes to the Farm Bill are starting to really show. And we take a look at one local family and their potato crop. It's all here on NTV's Grow. Thank you so much for joining us. You farmers out there are encouraged to make sure that you are safe as the harvest season is expected to be a very busy one this year. Ag Director Greg Ibaugh says favorable rains have boosted yield outlooks and has allowed an early end to irrigation. However, the precipitation could force producers to use more propane to help dry crops down to proper moisture levels. Now, you may recall the last fall and winter we had a sharp increase when it came to the price of propane. The industry was facing delivery and infrastructure issues. Nebraska Department of Ag Director Greg Ibaugh is hopeful the coming fall and winter will not hold similar problems. He says, quote, "From current reports, I am hopeful Nebraska is in a better position in terms of propane availability than we were last season. However, folks should make sure they are planning ahead." End quote. Now, those moisture levels can really have an impact on the crops out there, especially depending where you are standing in the state. Some are expected to have really big yields. Others, they were hit with severe weather and they are dealing with the consequences. NTV's Grow co-host Steve White caught up with a few producers and brings you more.
If it remains wet, that could stall harvest, and a lot of moisture in the crops can be a problem too. We caught up with farmers at Husker Harvest Days. They're starting to gear up for harvest of their own with their corn and soybean fields, but with all the severe weather we've had, they're not sure how things will end up.
This is the first year where about every acre of our crops that we grow this year got some hail, and some got at least 4 hailstorms through them, and the crops look good, you know, for the amount of hail we had and stuff, but you know, it's not going to be like a field that didn't get any hail this year.
Ray Makovica says his farm near York was hit by hail the size of golf balls not once but twice. And factor in low corn prices, farmers will be happy just to break even.
I just got to hope our crop insurance and stuff, you know, protects us enough, but insurance is we never do as good as a crop with insurance, so it's
a lot more satisfying to take a crop to the elevator.
Right, sure would be.
A USDA report out this week projects even bigger yields than expected, with corn and beans. Soybeans forecast to hit an all-time high at 3.91 billion bushels. Corn is not a record, but expected to be higher than last year and still a strong number. Markets have already reacted as those prices go even lower. Market analysts tell us things have pretty much bottomed out, but it's anyone's guess when those corn prices will go back up.
As far as moving the crop once it's harvested, there are some concern in states, not necessarily here in Nebraska. This is what's happening. Ag Director Ibaugh reached out to representatives of both sides of Nebraska's main railroads regarding concerns about grain movement. The Upper Plains states have had difficulty with rail access. Ibaugh says a variety of issues have contributed to problems with train car and locomotive availability and price increases. Indications are Nebraska is not facing as big of an issue as the Dakotas. Railway officials tell Ibaugh they have taken steps to ease concerns in Nebraska. Well, some say now is the time to beef up the presence of women on USDA Ag Advisory Committees. Ag Secretary Vilsack says women successfully run farms and they should be more involved in giving advice to the USDA.
We all know it's a partnership. We all know women are engaged and involved directly and in a variety of roles in farming operations and ranching operations around America. They need to be more reflected, in my view, in the committees that we appoint to essentially provide advice and counsel to the USDA. And it is a way of sending the message to encourage more young people, both male and female, and minority young people, that this is a business opportunity, this is a great opportunity for them.
How cattle are being treated is more important than the cost of beef. This is according to a new research that's being done by Kansas State University and Michigan State University. Researchers surveyed producers and consumers across the U.S. 65% of consumers say the well-being of cattle is more important than the lower beef prices. There are some areas, though, that didn't see eye to eye. Many consumers believe ranchers have to sacrifice the welfare of an animal in order to make more money. Ranchers strongly disagree. K-State researchers hope these findings will lead to animal welfare certification standards.
Potentially, this information can also be used to develop certification programs, so maybe a new label of that's animal welfare certified, and we'll see what practices the consumers think and the producers both agree should be on those certification programs.
The research was funded by the USDA. Now, for livestock producers, the deadline for livestock disaster assistance is quickly approaching. You are encouraged to contact your local FSA office. Operations having livestock that suffered grazing losses since October of 2011 may be eligible for financial assistance, as well as producers with livestock deaths due to weather-related events. Congress passed the Budget Control Relief Act in 2011. Applications must be fully complete by September 30th. Many farmers out there are trying to sort through a lot of information and discover what they need to do when it comes to the changes of that recent farm bill. NTV's Grow co-host Steve White takes a closer look.
Farmers have a lot of questions as they start to get information from the government. Extension educators in the area tell us they're getting lots of questions as farmers feel the angst of trying to understand the Farm Bill. But as Nebraska Farm Bureau's National Affairs Director says, at least we're not stuck in limbo without a bill.
You know, it's awfully nice that we actually have a Farm Bill completed, and now the big question is implementation. And people have a lot of question as to what program they should sign up for, what the programs do here and there. And there's a lot of new choices for farmers on this one.
Producers have started receiving reports from their local Farm Service Agency office. That comes ahead of decisions that need to be made about base acres. And with direct payments gone from the Farm Bill, farmers have choices among new programs.
And we did that on purpose so they could try to have a variety of programs to pick and customize what program works best for their farm, and that's what this Farm Bill will do. And so hopefully farmers will start working through some things and really talking to their landlords and to their lenders and really try to make some of these decisions here, because these decisions they make today will be with them through the life of this Farm Bill.
Farmers don't make these decisions in a vacuum. They're looking at corn prices that are half what they were a year or two ago, and expenses haven't gone down. So that's on their minds as they sign up for these programs. Now, this is a one-time decision farmers face on these new safety net programs, and there's no going back. So farmers need to get it right because they're going to be living with these decisions for the next 5 years.
Well, there was a dedication to 4 Nebraskans who've made a pretty big impact when it comes to agriculture. Statues were dedicated over the weekend to former U.S. Secretaries of Agriculture J. Sterling Morton, Clifford Hardin, Clayton Uter, and Mike Johans. The life-sized artwork is on the UNL campus. Potatoes have been a crop of choice for one local family. For the Culvers, they've been planting potatoes for the last 34 years. They plant 4 acres worth and invite the public to fill up on spuds during harvest time. Guests come from all over central Nebraska, Kansas, and Colorado. Now, if you didn't get a chance to go and missed out on this year's harvest at Culver Farms, they will have some bagged up at Stamford Pork Days, Saturday, September 27th. Water restrictions proposed by the EPA. Some say that they're overstepping their boundaries. We're going to have more details on this after the break. Later on, your growth forecast. Don't go anywhere.